Experts are warning that Canada's omission from a military pact involving three of its closest allies is symptomatic of a larger problem in how this country is perceived by its friends. The AUKUS deal has the goal of bolstering American and British plans to help Australia develop a fleet of nuclear-powered submarines. The move is in response to growing concerns about China's actions in the Pacific. The Trudeau government has refused to say whether Canada was invited to join AUKUS. It has also downplayed the pact's importance, even as parts of Canada's military and foreign establishment have called for its inclusion. Canadian Forces College professor Dr. Paul Mitchell believes Canada's exclusion reflects the perceptions of its closest allies and that it remains uncertain about its aims in the Indo-Pacific region. Well, Dr. Mitchell joins us now to give us more insight into this. Dr. Mitchell, welcome to Forum Daily, sir.
Pleasure to be here.
So a lot to unpack here. Let's start with the AUKUS Pact itself. What exactly does this pact entail?
So basically, AUKUS is a defense technology sharing agreement between Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. It's part of a, however, it's part of a growing set of largely Western-led institutions that are emerging in the Indo-Pacific region that include things like the Quad and the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework.
And we know the Indo-Pacific is quite a priority for Canada. Canada's emission from this military pact, however, is garnering a lot of criticism from military experts, including yourself. So can we go over some of these concerns?
Yeah, basically, what we're looking at here is largely a case of fear of missing out. Uh, the allies, the three allies, UK, United States, and Australia, are Canada's closest allies in both defense, security, and also in intelligence cooperation. And there's concern here that amongst these three, we're seeing the evolution away from the traditional Five Eyes community, which also included Canada and New Zealand, to a much tighter set of partners. And there's a lot of concern that Canada will be missing out in terms of developments amongst the traditionally close set of relations between the five nations that's been held ever since the end of the Second World War.
Now, you have mentioned in a previous interview that Canada has a strategy when it comes to the Indo-Pacific, but it hasn't decided on what it wants to accomplish in the area. So can you go over Canada's strategy and what exactly you mean by this?
So in the fall of 2022, Canada released the Indo-Pacific Strategy, which is a welcome development, certainly amongst the United States and our other partners in the region. For many years, Canada was not clear about what it wanted what it was going to bring to the table, as it were. And indeed, this is a significant step up from what we've been doing over recent years. We'll be augmenting the two frigates that we send annually into the region with a third one that will deploy out of Halifax. We'll be stepping up cooperation on regional exercises and getting the Army involved in the Indo-Pacific rather than just the Navy and a small part of the Air Force. We'll also be engaging with regional collaborators to help develop their own security institutions. There's money for cyber, and there's money for new policy analysts that are specifically dedicated to the Indo-Pacific region. All of these things, I think, are welcome developments from a regional perspective. But I also think that there will continue to be large questions about how resilient Canada's commitments are, particularly because we are drawn not only to the Indo-Pacific, but also to Europe and also to the Arctic. And these are also going to have a significant draws on Canada's limited defense and security capabilities. So whether this agreement is stress tested for the kinds of challenges that China is likely to engage in the coming decade, and whether we have the policy resilience to keep these engagements up over time as events in other parts of the world drag our attention to other locations, remains to be seen.
All right, sir, just about 30 seconds left here, but what are you keeping your eyes on as this AUKUS Pact continues to take shape?
So there are two things I think that are that'll be really interesting here. One is the escalating costs that are likely to accrue to Australia. Bringing in nuclear submarines is not a cheap not a cheap proposition. And it's not just about buying the equipment. It is about having the infrastructure and the personnel available to support this inherently dangerous technology. Secondly, will be the capacity of shipyards in both the United Kingdom and in the United States, where many of these submarines are going to initially be built for the Australians. And both the shipyards that are capable of producing nuclear boats in both the US and UK are already heavily engaged in producing those types of weapon platforms for their own navies. So whether this actually comes a cropper because of lack of capacity in industry, which we're already seeing problems in other areas with Ukraine and the supply of high technology weapons, I think is going to be something interesting to follow through on.
Interesting to watch for sure. Dr. Mitchell, again, thank you for your time today on Forum Daily.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.